Okay, very good. We broke an executive session and come back into our regular meeting at 8:51 p.m. And item number B is next on the agenda, the possible executive session pursuant to ARS 43.1.03.A for discussion of the recommendation of non-renewal of teacher Richard Tannenberg. As I understand, that has been asked to be held in public, so we will conduct it in that way. So the issue at hand is whether to renew or non-renew Richard Tannenberg. And so I understand we've got to take action on this particular issue. And that's to open up the discussion. We'll need a motion and a second. And so remember, this is going to be done in public.
I apologize. I thought my mic was down. I make a motion to discuss the renewal of teacher Richard Tannenberg.
We have a motion. I need a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And we have with us Principal Ann Martin and Superintendent Larry Wallen. And you want to go ahead and start? Is that okay? Or Larry, you'd like to start? Thank you very much.
Let me start. Thank you very much. You were just provided 4 observation packets.
Right.
And a summative evaluation packet. So if you look at the top in the blue, it says teacher formal observation domains 1 through 4. If you go over on the right-hand side where it says title teacher and then say date submitted, 11/03/2020, that tells you the date, and then date submitted 12/13/2020 for another observation. So that's 2 observations. And then the third observation dated 4/15/2021 will be the most recent. And then another observation dated 4/20/2021 that says teacher summative evaluation. So an observation, an evaluation consists of, so it says teacher summative evaluation. An evaluation consists of 2 observations or more. In this case, there are 3. So those are the documents you look at. Then to give you the timeline on January 6, 2021, based on these observations, an evaluation, a preliminary notice of inadequate classroom performance, notice of intent to dismiss was issued to Mr. Richard Tannenberg based on Governing Board Policy GCO. The notice is intended to furnish Mr. Tannenberg with an opportunity to correct, and this is again due process rights to correct the inadequacies described within 45 instructional days commencing January 8th and ending March the 26th. A formal observation will be scheduled after the 45 days and a post-observation meeting. We scheduled to review your progress on your plan of improvement on Friday, April 2nd, 2021. In the event that inadequacies are not corrected in a timely fashion, a recommendation may be made by the administration that your employment with Page Unified School District is terminated. As he is aware, on his December 4th, 2021, so you go through back to those ones that we just gave you, and the one that says December 4th, 2021. I'm sorry, December 14th, 2021. So you look at, and the date that's being used, if you go to the observation, the date that's being used is the second one. The date submitted is 12/13. The date acknowledged is 12/14. So that one is the one, that observation is one that's used. It identified inadequacies in your classroom performance. And it showed that he was rated ineffective. So when you look at that 12/13 document with acknowledgement on 12/14, you're going down and looking at the ineffectives. Those are the ones you want to see. You're not allowed to have ineffectives and developing. So that you get that combination, then you go into an improvement plan. So that's a consistent theme and trend. And then you have the summative dated 4/20, which is the one that that's referenced in the document. So all those ended up that he was inadequate in these areas. The next thing, it goes through and gives him, and a performance improvement plan is attached to that. So he's provided a performance improvement plan. In your information, there was a performance improvement plan provided. That performance improvement plan is very detailed. It says specifically what you have to do. There are no secrets, nothing hidden. So that performance improvement plan is in the information you're provided, and it is labeled RT 2021 improvement plan. If you open that document, then that's what you'll find there is an improvement plan. So that improvement plan then is provides the expectation. What is it I am to work on? Notifications, when has this been brought to your attention? How should it look? What's the excellence indicators to that document? What's the timeline? When does it need to be in place so that you correct that issue? You don't have to correct them all at once, but you have to correct them over the 45 days. Where can I look for help? So here's your resources. And then the results. What are the results of the plan after 45 instructional days? So if you look at that plan under expectations, 2C, managing classroom procedures, ineffective rating on 4/13/2021. So the final rating was ineffective. And you go over to results, and it tells you that Mr. Tamberg failed to make student groupings a part of his coherent lesson that allowed for little loss of instructional time. He failed to incorporate the skills within better learning as you developed instructional plans, as evidenced by lack of understanding of the gradual release of responsibility. The gradual release of responsibility is I do, you, let's see, you do, I do, we do. You failed to manage classroom procedures that allow for productive engagement of both small group and independent learning. And again, all the information is to the left. The next domain or component, or element, 3B, using questioning and discussion techniques. He received an ineffective rating. Again, the documentation of the dates when that was brought up. The results was he failed to develop questions that promote student thinking and expect students to justify their thinking. He failed to use techniques that allow students to make their thinking visible and carry the cognitive load of on-grade level standards. He failed to deliver instruction that is aligned to the learning expectations in the grade level standards. He failed to actively engage students in questioning and discussion techniques that expect students to speak with one another and not just the teacher. Then you go to C3C, engaging students in learning. He has an ineffective rating on 4/13/21. He failed to create instruction that is aligned to the intellectual expectations for engagement in on-grade level standards. He failed to create peer interactions with the content as part of the instructional delivery process. Then you go to 3D, using assessment instruction. He had an ineffective rating, again, coming back to that 4/21/21 date. You failed to use success criteria as part of the teacher talk to not only establish the learning expectation, but also check for understanding. You failed to expect students to use the success criteria to self and peer assess their learning. You failed to use questioning techniques to check for understanding. Instead, you frequently release students to independent learning work with little or no support on how to accomplish the expected learning. You failed to provide feedback of learning through each phase of learning. You failed to consistently use formative data to develop and deliver instruction. Instead, you used the same lesson structure that did not get adequate turn the page here, results the first time. So he was ineffective. In 2C, managing classroom procedures. 3B, using questioning and discussion techniques. 3C, engaging students in learning. And 3D, using assessment in instruction. And based on those items, he did not successfully complete his improvement plan. And therefore, we are requesting the board to issue a notice of non-renewal based on his failure to complete his improvement plan. He had every opportunity, 45 days, to do that, and he chose not to do that. Then Ms. Martin can answer any questions you might have that go into more detail than that.
Mr. Wallen,
That's a lot.
Miss Martin, yeah, that's a lot. When I'm looking at kind of the letter that was sent out January the 6th, 2021, provided the initial notice, I guess, is that correct?
Correct.
And then there was, there were
And an improvement plan.
mention of your improvement plan. I saw that as well. And then administration saying they're committed to working with you to improve your teaching performance. And you said that he didn't seek any of that, because I'm looking on that plan of improvement that's attached January 8th, 2021. And where can I look for help? What does it need to be in place? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go. Well, anyway, I just looked at the resources and feedback provided by evaluator. That was done. Monthly progress monitoring meetings with Ann Martin. Was that done January, February, March? Is that what it said? So he did that part. And when you said that none of it was followed, what was the part that was missing in terms of his utilizing resources?
And his use, well, those are his resources. The timeline. So if you look under timeline, it says, for example, for 2C, managing classroom procedures.
Right.
It says evidence
gotcha.
and weekly lesson plans. So that that managing classroom procedures need to be evidenced.
And there, it wasn't there. Yeah. Okay,
so under
gotcha.
assessment, as students are
Right.
placed in instructional groups, then you go
Yep.
to the timeline and the weekly lesson plans. He didn't do that.
Sure. Gotcha. Okay, good. I saw that. Yeah. I just wanted to.
And so those two play with each other, then over to the results.
I was just looking at our hey, here's the to-do list, and we laid it out for you. And then when you start into the action of the improvement plan, then we come to that, the other document in terms of expected notifications, assessment, timeline, resources, and results. Okay, gotcha.
Correct. And then the SAT teacher, the teacher coach,
Right.
was brought in on 3B once a week concerning the use of instructional techniques,
Right.
and was go in and coach him. There were monthly progress monitoring meetings with Ann Martin in January, February, March.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was lesson plans were examined weekly, and so on and so forth, to show that there's every opportunity to do this.
Right. Gotcha. And plenty of feedback, it looks like.
Plenty of feedback. And Ms. Martin maybe wants to make a closing statement or on the process, but this is very thorough and very detailed.
Yep.
It's easy to follow. All you have to do is do it. All you have to do is do it. I've had plenty of teachers on improvement plans before, and I've had them be very successful and come off the improvement plans and go on to be successful teachers.
Okay. So Ms. Martin, you have something you'd like to say, and just follow up from where Superintendent Wallen left off?
I think Mr. Wallen covered a lot of it. He went over the results column. So initially, at the beginning of the 45 days, instructional days for improvement, the results column was not on the plan of improvement. So that was added afterward.
Sure.
After the 3 formal observations. And those are the results of the plan of improvement that was put in force.
Okay. Okay. Board members, you have any questions for Superintendent Wallen or Ms. Martin?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I wish I knew every teacher in our school district, but I can't put the name or face together. So I was curious, what subject does this teacher teach?
Math.
Math.
Anything else, Ms. Kidman?
we just got these evaluations. I find it hard to process all that much information in, a short period of time. But are there any supporting CFA data that we can look at from the students without students?
I don't
names?
know of the appropriateness to,
If we showed you that, would have student names on it, so that wouldn't be
Okay.
appropriate. But the
3D is the assessment with an instruction element of our teacher evaluation rubric. Maybe that is an area to pinpoint.
Okay,
on
can
the
you repeat
formal-
that? Where is that?
3D, it's one of the components of the evaluation rubric. It's entitled Using Assessment in Instruction. It was also a targeted element for the plan of improvement. If you look at the formal that was acknowledged on 12/14,
Okay, I'm not seeing it. Did you say 3D?
3D,
Where it
Go
says,
to the date that says 12/14/2020 and
and so if you move through that packet, and you can take a look at 3D, the notes and evidence, and then just kind of trace that to the next formal, which is dated for April, acknowledged on April 16th.
okay, so on the 15th, it says, on 12/14th, it was developing, and then on 3D, it says effective. Does that mean students,
It does not say effective.
that's 1E. So you go, it's 3 pages back to 3D.
Sandra, you might be looking at 4C right under 3D. That's the one that states effective.
well, my thing is cut off, so it's very hard to see.
You can also see a collection of the ratings on the plan of improvement.
Oh,
It's
which
the
one is
second
that?
column from the left. There's been a consistent lack of effective practice in the element of 3D.
Well, she's looking at some of that. So literally the 3D column that I'm looking at on your plan of improvement, which provides results, every aspect in terms of this was in classroom, this is what was observed, and the expectation was not met in many categories, it looks like. And that's what I'm looking at, correct, on my, I call them my white sheets.
Correct. It says you failed to use success criteria as part of the teacher
correct.
clock.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. So you're literally observing the expectation, the platform for success for any students, and failing to use formative data. So that doesn't really concern the evaluation teachers normally lean on, I would suspect, to assess where their kids are. Feedback of learning through each phase.
Yep, formative data can
Gotcha.
mean many things, but it's really the things that are happening in real time.
Right.
If you
Gotcha.
look at some of the observational notes,
Yep.
you know, the manner in which that was attempted was something like, does anyone have any questions?
Sure.
Who would like to share? You're not getting formative data from that you can then use, which is the expectation, is that
Right.
students are engaged in giving a teacher output that they assess and use to
Gotcha.
move to their next teacher move.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Did you have any parent complaints about this teacher?
This is specifically in regards to inadequate classroom performance,
Okay.
which is contained in the formal observations, the summative, and the plan of improvement that you guys have in front of you.
Gotcha. Okay. Board members, any other questions, comments for Ms. Martin or for Superintendent Wallen? Okay, not hearing none, we're here to discuss and then actually move within session to recommend non-renewal of the teacher. With that, with no further discussion, hearing it, anyone want to make the motion, or do we already have the motion on the floor for non-renewal? And so in our discussion, ready to call for the vote. And so all in favor? Good.
I'm sorry, it was
Superintendent
just a
Wallen?
motion to discuss.
Discuss. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we
you're
do need to
exactly
make a
correct.
motion. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Mrs. Fowler. Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I would suggest you look at C, statement following executive session, and there is possible motions that have been recommended.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay. So we have not received a letter of resignation from Mr. Tanberg, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right,
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to non-renew the employment of teacher Richard Tanberg for the 2021-2022 school year based on the reasons set forth in the notice provided by Mr. Wallens to Mr. Tanberg of the board's decision.
thank you. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, we do have a second. Any further comments or questions? Okay, well, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I don't feel like I can judge the merits of this case by just getting the documentation and, open meeting. So
Understand. Okay, so we have 4 votes for, as I understand, and 1 abstention. So the motion passes to non-renew. Thank you very much. Item number 10, future agenda items. There's a list, and for the sake of expediency, if you have any further, we've already added one this evening. And so we'll consider those. Let us know what items you'd like to see. Unless someone has something burning in their heart to say. Okay, let's go to item 11. I'll call for adjournment. I need a motion in a second.
I make a motion to adjourn at 9:16 p.m.
You have a motion? I need to hear a second, I'm sorry.
I second.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.